Hey guys, welcome back into the video. So, I guess the AAA game industry never fucking learns. They never learn, now do they? Well, what am I talking about? As you all know, two games, big games actually, have come out in the last couple of days, is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which was a game I was very excited for, and this one really pisses me off so much, because I really love Fallen Order. Hell, I streamed the whole walkthrough of the game on Twitch, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, maybe? If I can remember, but anyway, cheap plug for that. If you want to watch me stream games or not having a good time, whatnot. But anyways, now here's the Metacritic score for the PC version of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, where it got an 88, but look at the user score though, folks. You'll find out why it is so freaking low, why there's such a huge disparity between it. Because the whole controversy surrounding this game is where it, especially the PC version of this game, where it's a terrible PC port. As Digital Foundry actually did a couple videos, first on the PC version, as we'll take a look at right now. I've shown a couple clips, well, some of them are like longer than others, but just kind of paint a picture of just exactly why this game, it's been hugely so much backlash, and it's rightfully deserved. But anyway, let's take a look.
Poor PC input device control. Watch this. Here I just want to try and quit the game by using the mouse. Haha, you can navigate the menu with the mouse, but a number of elements do not work when clicking. Here I'm trying to click the quit button, but it does nothing. You actually have to hold down Enter on the keyboard to select some buttons. This is bad user experience. Good.
Hello? Hello. How's it going?
You know what time it is?
Do you? Because it's 4:20 somewhere. I know that. Is that the phrase?
Are you drunk?
Mm-hmm.
Are you really kidding me? Like, the fact that you actually have to press the enter button on your keyboard to even activate options in the freaking menus. When you want to use mouse and keyboard. The fact you have to press the enter button instead of just click on the mouse? What the hell? That's just inconvenience. Like, what the fuck were you thinking, EA and Respawn? What were you thinking with that one? But if you think that, that's the worst of it, oh, no. No, that's not even close, buddy. Not even close. Let's keep going. Now, I'll showcase some of the actual performance of this game on PC, and it's a mess.
Element in the game that shows up the first time you load up the game, but also bizarrely shows up every time you load up the game after that. I'm not honestly sure if it's doing anything after the first time you load up the game. As the second, third, or 10th time you load up the game, it still shows that UI element, but the CPU is barely doing anything while that UI widget is on the screen. Either way, the shader pre-compilation in this game fails to precompile all shader combinations. So when you play the game, you will see shader compilation stutter. The first one you can see happens just as the game is starting. That intro cinematic starts, and right there's a huge shader compilation stutter when the ship comes on screen. It's an obvious one. It does not happen, for example, if you load up the game a second time as the shader's already been compiled. But if you delete the shader cache or nuke the driver, then guess what? That same shader compilation stutter will crop right up again. The opening section of the game has a number of shader compilation stutters in it that are obvious and of course disappear on a second playthrough, like when this lightsaber is activated here. The fact that there are even any shader compilation stutters at all is unacceptable after the issues the first game had, and the fact that they are so obvious. Beyond shader compilation stutter, the game also suffers from loading and traversal stutter, and this is more pervasive actually, and is ruining for the game experience. Everywhere you go in Jedi Survivor, moving across the game world, you will see spikes of frame time over a number of frames, or over a few seconds in total as you cross invisible boundaries in the game world. This happens all over the game world, no matter what area you are, in Coruscant, in the opening areas of Kobo, and especially in the town of Kobo. This will also happen no matter what CPU or GPU combination you have. Even areas that look innocuous will have frame time spikes in them. The frame time spikes of these stutters can be smaller, but they can also be large, and they can compound with any shader compilation stutter that might potentially occur at the same time as that load. No matter how many times you play the game or run across an area, you will always see the same stutter. Nothing can prevent this. And yes, nothing can prevent this. Even playing the game at the lowest settings, you will still see traversal stutter and shader compilation stutter. Here's the game running on low on a Core i9-12900K. Notice the frame time graph. Notice the stutter. Every PC will be affected by this, just like with shader compilation stutter. So here Jedi Survivor has failed to improve over its predecessor in the main areas where its predecessor was also bad. Jedi Survivor in fact manages to be worse than its predecessor when one considers the largest issue in the release, and that is how CPU limited it is and what type of CPU limitation we appear to be looking at. Look at this scene here on a Core i9-12900K at the lowest settings. Please take note of how the game is utterly underutilizing the GPU. GPU utilization is minimal. The 4090 is asleep at the wheel here essentially. But notice at the same time how the frame rate on the lowest settings is also sub 60. So a really good modern CPU here is sub 60 FPS on the lowest settings in game. This is in and of itself not something to cry about though, as from a rational perspective, hardware never guarantees that you should be able to run X game at X settings at X frame rate. But here the performance appears completely unjustified and indefensible. Take a look at the CPU utilization. Notice how most of the CPU is doing absolutely nothing. The game appears to be limited by the performance of roughly 2 threads, which are always pegged at 70% or higher. Yes, in the year 2023, we are seeing poor utilization of our CPUs and GPUs with ray tracing off even at the lowest settings, and you're getting
You are out of your damn little pea-sized mind. What is wrong with you? Do you have any sense at all? Okay. Do you have any idea better than you did the day before? And I think there's no possible way he can top that. But what do? You find a way, damn it, to top it.
Are you really serious, EA and Respawn? You're telling me that in 2023 that you're having problems optimizing the game for the PC? I get it. Optimizing for the PC is hard. I get it because you have so many options, so many configurations. I understand that. But you're really telling me that you actually tested this before launching the game? Are you really bullshitting me? And there's a fucking reason why the game has a user score of 2.0. And at one point, on Steam, it was mostly negative. Mostly negative reviews. That should freaking tell you it's utter bullshit that they released a game like this. It should not even be sold on Steam with this many issues. Unbelievable. Unreal. But hey, what about the console version, right? That's why people, play ports on consoles. Typically, they focus on the consoles first. Well, I got bad news for you. I got bad news for you, people. It's happening there too. As User Foundry again pointed this out. So, again, let's take a look.
So far, I've been showing off Jedi Survivor on PS5 in its resolution mode, and there is a good reason for that. The game operates using heavy upsampling courtesy of AMD's FSR2 to achieve its final rendered imagery, and that technique works much better with a higher internal resolution. For the PS5 version of the game, my colleague Tom Morgan counted results roughly in the ranges on screen for the 2 modes on offer. Essentially, the PS5 renders at around approximately 1152p or 720p during gameplay, depending on the visual mode, with heavy upsampling to make that imagery look good on a high-resolution display. In resolution mode, it looks like the game is upsampling to 4K, while performance mode upsamples to 1440p. Both modes do maintain the ray tracing effects, however, and there doesn't seem to be a substantial difference between them outside of resolution and some minor differences in foliage. As a final note, cutscenes on both modes run in the same resolution window, with a 4K-like image resolve and a 30 FPS performance cap. Exactly how well this works in practice is going to be a matter of personal taste and the display you have. With motion blur on in the resolution mode, I didn't find it to be too annoying sitting a typical viewing distance from a large, slightly laggy VA LCD television. But the game does suffer from substantial artifacting, specifically around fine geometric edges and character silhouettes, that kicks up basically any time there's movement. This gets worse in the performance mode, which struggles somewhat against its relatively low internal resolution. We're going to be seeing a lot of aggressive upsampling in use as this console generation progresses, but I do wish that the results were a little bit cleaner here. Series X fares about the same as PS5 in terms of image quality, and pixel counts come in at roughly the same figures, as you might expect. We're still looking at heavy upsampling in both visual modes, with substantial artifacting and aliasing as a result. Let's look at performance, starting with Series X. In its resolution mode, the X does manage to hold a pretty consistent 30 FPS. Long stretches of gameplay run at a straight 30 without any real deviance. There's a one-off dropped frame sometimes, but we're mostly looking at a pretty decent 30 FPS update here. And Unreal Engine 4's excellent motion blur leaves the game looking pretty smooth in motion. However, there are moments where the game can drop pretty hard. Certain spots during gameplay and cinematics tend to chug badly, notably when large alpha effects are on screen. It's a bit annoying but not terribly frequent, and framerate drops in Jedi Survivor on all consoles are often accompanied by tearing in the top third of the screen, presumably a measure to improve input response, though the tear lines can be pretty distracting. The performance mode targets a 60 FPS update, and unfortunately, the results aren't great. In the opening level, performance tends to hover between 45 and 60 FPS in a sort of frame rate no man's land, with near constant tearing as a result. This is punctuated occasionally by larger frame time spikes as well. Subsequent naturalistic areas like Kobo tend to run with more consistent performance, though these also suffer from occasional drops. On a conventionally refreshed panel, I'm not a big fan, but VRR displays cope better with the uneven performance. The PS5 seems to perform similarly enough. Again, expect a relatively consistent resolution mode with some minor drops and bizarre trouble spots, and a performance mode that really struggles to reach 60 FPS in some areas. There's not much performance between the two consoles as far as I can tell, with both exhibiting similar drops in the same spots.
You blew it. Fish.
Yeah, like you all seen that there. The fact that in resolution that it's at, what was it, like 720p at the lowest? I believe it was quality mode, I believe. No, performance mode, actually, but you kind of get what I'm saying though. But even then, it can't even hit a stable frame rate. Especially in performance mode. Like, it was all over the place. So it wasn't even optimizing the consoles too. And oh my gosh, like the gaslighting from EA, because they actually put out a statement about this whole shitstorm. But let's go over that. Issues first, my bad. Star Wars Jedi superior PC performance issues. Obviously, as we just went over that. Who's less than stellar? No shit. We need outlets and players reporting big frame rate drops in open areas and large battles. Of course, lower settings and or restarting the game, make sure latest drivers, blah blah blah. You kind of get the idea. Low FPS. While the worst of the frame rate seem to be tied to PC port, many console players experience low FPS as well. Aside from playing in performance mode, even then that doesn't give you a high frame rate, because it drops all over the place. Way to mitigate this issue, we'll need to wait for a update from Respawn. Well, no, it's not like you can lower your settings really like you can on PC. Stuttering. Many Unreal Engine games have historically had issues with stuttering due to shader compilation, acid loading problems, and based on reports we've seen, Jedi Survivors also suffers from this problem. This is something that only the devs can solve with a post-launch patch. Okay, yeah, stuttering is obviously a huge issue. This has been very consistent with Unreal Engine games, especially on PC. It seems to be a thing with Unreal Engine 4. So hopefully once developers start using Unreal Engine 5, hopefully they kind of, learn their shit and kind of optimize it like they're freaking supposed to before releasing it. But anyway, continuing. Star Wars Jedi Survivor stuck, unpacking slowly. Unpack preloading games a normal process on Steam, but some players have reported an issue with Jedi Survivor unpacking extremely slow. Sadly, you cannot do anything other than wait to process out, which could take 1 or several more hours. I know The Last of Us had this issue, I believe. Anyway. Stuck on loading screen. If you get stuck on loading screen, you won't load up the game. Try waiting for a while to see if you can get past it. If you're not able to load the game, your best bet is to close and restart it. Optimize the game files. Digital Finder actually showed this briefly. If you see the screen pop up, don't close or restart your game. While you might be stuck on it for a few minutes, the process will start over if you close the game before it's finished. Be patient while the game compiles its files. Screen tearing. One of my best friends, he actually pointed this out because he's been playing the game on Series X. By the way, you only seen it once, just want to point that out. But anyway, if you experience lots of screen tears in Jedi Survivor on PC, try turning on VSync and see if this solves the problem. Also, if your monitor supports NVIDIA G-Sync or AMD FreeSync, there's a good chance that using it will eliminate the screen tear. If neither solutions work, or you're experiencing screen tear on systems, you need to wait for a patch from the developers. Cutscenes. Some report the game's frame rate nosedives pretty hard during cutscenes, and the objects in the scenes drastically pop in as well. Unfortunately, there's currently no fix for this issue, so players have to again wait for a patch. Like so many problems. The hits keep coming with this. Let's keep going. So crashing. If you're experiencing crash while playing the game, there's not much you can do beyond rest the ammunition points as much as possible. This saves your progress and will hopefully mitigate your lost progress now that your game crashes. Players are consistently crashing immediately after launching the game should try reinstalling the game or restarting their system or PC. More broken HDR. I've heard about this, especially for the console versions, by the way. If you can try restarting or reinstall the game to fix it, or simply turning HDR off will also stop the problem from happening until Respawn deploys a fix. HDR settings reverted. If you ever experience a crash, there's a good chance that your HDR will be reverted back to default options. Sadly, there's nothing you could do about this beyond correcting all your settings each freaking time. EA app your game failed to launch. Uh-oh. I've been hearing about this, by the way. If you're attempting to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor through the EA app, you may run into the game has failed to launch If this happens, wait a few minutes and try again. Eventually, the game should launch. If it doesn't, completely restart the EA app. Before I talk about the last one, this one, apparently, there's some form of DRM. I don't know what it is. There's been some theories about it's like de novo, but even if it's them, F off de novo, that needs to die in the fire. But anyway, or it could be EA's own, because apparently you can only have the game on 2 different PCs. Like, why is that even a thing? Because if you own the game, you should be able to use it on as many PC devices as you fucking want. Period. You bought the game. You have the right to do whatever you want with it. I don't care what anybody says. Anyway, finally, this game cannot be streamed live. Several Xbox streamers have said they're unable to stream the game on the cause this game cannot be streamed right now. There's no way to get around this, so players have to wait, be patient, and wait for a patch. Alright, and now let's get to actually EA's message attempting to gaslight people for calling them out on so many bugs. Anyway, we are aware that Star Wars Jedi Survivor isn't performing to our standards for a percentage of our PC players, or most of it. I would say, if not 100%. In particular, those with high-end machines on certain specific configurations. For example, players using cutting-edge, multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 were encountering on Windows 10 or high-end GPUs coupled with lower performance CPUs also saw unexpected frame loss. Rest assured, we are working to address these cases quickly. While there is no single comprehensive solution for PC performance, the team has been working on fixes we believe will improve performance across a spectrum of configurations. We are committed to fixing these issues as soon as possible, but each patch requires significant testing to ensure they don't introduce new problems. Aha! Now you want to do this testing after you took people's money. Thanks for understanding and apologies for any of our players experiencing these problems. We will continue to monitor performance across all platforms and share update time as soon as available. The Star Wars Jedi team. Oh, come on, EA. Come on. You really willing to tell me and every other person on this planet who has even knowledge about Star Wars Jedi Survivor, you're meaning to tell me that you did not know these issues even before when you were, developing the game. Gee. Maybe this happens after you fired 200 Q&A testers, by the way, and this happens. Gee, imagine my shock. It was all about money. It's pretty blatant. At a full $70 and people were telling me, oh, $70 brings you quality. No, it freaking doesn't when shit like this happens over and over and over again. Ugh, my god. But this ain't the only game we're talking about, folks. Y'all remember Redfall, right? That game is actually coming out today as I'm recording this video. As you can see, reviews are out for the game, and ooh, looks like a big L for Arcane and Microsoft, because yikes. As you can see here, Metascore 62 on PC. The Series X the Xbox version is not barely any better, as it's only 2 points higher. So yeah, this is a L for sure.
What the fuck?
Wow, Arcane, man, like, you really dropped the fucking ball with this one, huh? Really dropped the ball. And apparently based on things I've seen reviews, Empty open world. Ooh, that is not good. That definitely goes against Arcane's strengths because they've never done an open world title before. Ooh, not good. And apparently there's even performance problems here too when it comes to PC performance. Gee, the hits just keep on coming. Anyway, the early impressions of Redfall are not positive, and its PC performance isn't doing the game any favors. I originally came to the story with a specific angle about how certain GPUs will struggle to run the game more than others. The more I dig it, and the more I realize there are compromises no matter where you look. On one hand, Redfall is a relief to the fact that it even runs in the first place, especially among games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, as we just talked about, and The Last of Us Part 1 have launched in dire sense. It's still hard overlooking the problems of the PC port, though, which are pressed if you're not running the latest and greatest hardware.
Read from sheets. I am Sofa King.
Sofa King.
We Todd Ed.
Are you? No, gee. Again, this seems to be a common thing. I know people are thinking, oh, it must be Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, it is a problem. It's been very commonplace for Unreal Engine 4 games lately to be having problems on PC. Hell, PC ports in general have been chaotic lately when it comes to not being very good and or optimized. I mean, there's plenty of examples out there. There's plenty of them, especially this year alone. But anyway, let's continue, because the hits just keep on coming with Redfall performance, folks. In addition to some of the issues above, Redfall also has traversal stuttering, and can be pretty bad. It's important to note that Redfall received a patch just before the game went live and solved some of it, which first started, but there are still problems. If you're unfamiliar, you could also call traversal stuttering load stuttering in a large game like Redfall. Only select portions of the map are actually loaded at any given time. As you travel, other portions will disappear and new portions will be loaded in. When this happens, there's a stutter, making it easy to spot where the loading points are in the game. Yeah, like, wow, man. Jesus Christ, man. It is pretty fucking clear that, let's see, EA blatantly knew it was gaslighting after they scammed people out of $70 fucking dollars, and now Redfall is having problems as well when it comes to performance optimization. Jesus Christ, man. Like, both games should have been delayed, but in Redfall's case, I don't think it would have helped that game much, because there's still core design fundamental problems with it, like an empty open world. That clearly it shouldn't have been, but there's also other problems like the always online thing, among other things. So, and I'm willing to bet is if the acquisition did not happen, I do think it would have been a live service game. I think that was the intention. It screams like old ZeniMax, management before Microsoft came in and took over pretty much, but still though. So it's not totally on Xbox for this one, but damn, what a huge L for Arcane. And for EA, you and Respawn, man, you had all the momentum in the world coming off of how just incredible Fallen Order was, and and the PC port of Fallen Survivor still has the same freaking issues that Fallen Order did when that came out in 2019. The fact that you couldn't even bother to, because you knew full well that about Fallen Order's issues, and they still did not address them for its sequel. Unfreaking believable! Like, Jesus Christ, man, this industry did not learn after Cyberpunk 2077. There's even other games that have done this shit. Still, let's see, Battlefield 2042. That game launched incomplete, buggy, broken. Halo Infinite launched incomplete. That game was mostly smooth for the most part. There were some bugs here and there, but it was mostly solid, at least from my personal experience anyway. I mean, there's so many more I can think of, man. Jesus Christ. Forspoken? That game had bugs and issues as well. And if I remember right correctly, the PC port of that game was unoptimized too. So again, that's just what? Let's see, Halo Infinite, Battlefield 2042, Forspoken, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Survivor, Redfall. That's 5 games right there that have had technical problems when they came out. And in Fallen Survivor's case, they didn't even address the issues that were present in the previous game. and they brought them over. They didn't even bother to fix them. Unbelievable, man. This industry did not learn fucking nothing. You know what? It's our fault too, because we keep pre-order games. I'm guilty just as much as you guys are. I'm just as guilty. I really am. I don't pre-order games that much at all to begin with, but man, it seems some of the games that I've been looking forward to, like Fallen Survivor, man. It really freaking sucks, man. This shit needs to stop because no other industry would allow this. But why is the gaming industry allowing this? Unbelievable. Okay, I think we've gone over everything, but yeah, unbelievable. Clearly, industry, man, I don't know what. At this point, if people just stop buying games, man, then maybe these publishers actually, open their eyes and actually pay fucking attention. And actually do what they're supposed to do, is launch a product that is functioning at launch. Not 12 months later, not 6 to 12 months later, at freaking launch. It's unacceptable. Period. And this does not need to be defended. Period. It shouldn't be. Because you're paying $60, $70. And in most cases, the game is actually bugged, broken, and not optimized. It's even... it kind of shows you that a game like Dead Island 2 that came out mostly polished, and that game was in development hell for 10 years. It switched multiple studios, and that game comes out polished as fuck and optimized. When compared to when that happens, there's no excuse for new AAA games in 2023 to be launching with this many freaking issues. I know games are much more complicated now. I totally get that, but you would but do the Q&A testing. Delay games when they are not fucking ready. And in Fallen Survivor's case, it only took them 3 years. It was definitely rushed. Even after their first initial delay, that was only like 6 weeks. It clearly needed more time. Clearly. Especially on the PC version. These publishers should be freaking ashamed of themselves. But, it's kind of sad that people will still buy it. They know it too, and that's why they keep doing it. It happens every single time, constantly breaking records. The industry is making so much freaking money. They don't care. As long as they're making money, who gives a shit? Who really cares? We all suffer in the end, but we keep buying it. Unfortunately, we need to speak with our wallets, because otherwise, shit won't change. Period. And it seems to be getting worse and worse. Especially with this new generation. It is unacceptable, period. End of discussion. Stop pre-ordering games day freaking one. And I'm gonna sing my tune too, because like I said before, I'm guilty of it too. In most rare cases, because I rarely pre-order games. I'll be the first to say it. I'm guilty of it, just like the rest of you are. We need to speak with our wallets, period, because if we don't, shit won't change, period. Okay, I think I've gone on long enough. Anyway, what do you guys think? Sorry about the long tirade, but shit like this just really pisses me off, because the industry clearly does not fucking learn. It doesn't. And my god, the audacity of these publishers trying to gaslight people for their freaking mistakes of launching games incomplete, busted, broken. Anyway, I'm done. So what do you guys think of this long... Sorry about the long video, but I had a lot to say. But anyway, that's it for this video. What do you guys think? Let me down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And consider hitting that sub button so you do not miss any more videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Until then, have a good one.